The gift of why. How to find your purpose and live a peaceful, prosperous, and purposeful life. If anyone here would love to find their purpose, say, I do.
I do.
That's 4 of you. If anyone here truly would like to receive the gift of why tonight and to leave and live a peaceful life, say, I do.
I do.
If you want to live a prosperous life, say, Jay, show me how.
Show me how.
It's the gift of why. What I've found over the last 38 years is that many of us grow up to believe that our why, our purpose, is to make money, is to feed our family, is to have a roof over our head, to enjoy life. Well, I found something over this journey, this secret sauce called the gift of why. And that why is what we should live for, and it's what will lead you to a peaceful, purposeful, and prosperous life. And I want to tell you how. I grew up in poverty to a single mom, 17 years old. I watched my mother sell drugs to give us the extras. I visited my stepfather in prison for several years, doing 13 years in prison for armed robbery and various charges. There were 6 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment. We grew up on welfare, on WIC, on food stamps, and we lived below the poverty line. So early on, I had this urge and this ambition to get money. And as I became a teenager, my environment showed me that money was gained the fastest on the street corner. And growing up in my household, my stepfather came home from prison. He had a heroin addiction, and he was emotionally and physically abusive. So abusive, he would knock me down, stand over me, and say, I don't care if you live or die. So I grew up angry. I grew up in poverty. I grew up frustrated. And at 15 years old, I began to sell drugs on the street corner. At 16 years old, I left home, dropped out of high school in 11th grade, and became a full-time drug dealer. At 17, I would go back to school and graduate from an alternative program, but my whole purpose, my whole mission was to get money, to break the poverty curse at the nearest corner that I seen how. I remember looking at facing prison time and thinking to myself that if I had to go to jail for decades, but I could leave behind some kind of resources for my family, I would gladly sign up. Because I thought my purpose was to feed my family. And at 18 years old, I did go to prison, facing 3 years of life in prison on Rikers Island in New York for drug possession and drug trafficking crimes. Would serve a year in jail, come home, and before a year was up again, I caught 2 more felonies, facing drug trafficking crimes in Maryland and New Jersey. Would serve more prison time, still come home from prison, and go right back to the corners, right back to the block. Because of my why, my early why. It was to get rich or what?
That's right.
It was to get rich or what?
That's right.
Let the church say amen. It was to get rich or die trying. That's how passionate I was about what I thought my why was, what I thought my purpose was. I thought my purpose was as minuscule as to sacrifice my life just to feed my family or have the extras. How immature of me. So in 2005, approaching 25 years old, on the street corner of 10th and Springfield in Newark, New Jersey, I had an epiphany while I was selling dope to my community at 6 in the morning. And that epiphany was, Jay, where are you going to be when you're 30? As a 3-time felon with 3 felonies in 3 different states, no college education, and a former high school dropout. Where will you be when you're 30? I knew it would be dead or in jail. I said, Jay, are you really a hustler or are you just a drug dealer? Because a drug dealer only can sell drugs. A hustler can hustle anything. And so I challenged myself that day to see if I would take my same charisma, my same energy, my same grind, my same work ethic, my same swag, and take it from the street corners to the corner offices of a mortgage company in Union, New Jersey. I began my journey as a loan officer and as a young investor. I purchased my first 2-family home, and then a couple more multifamilies in my first flip. Also got my real estate license while I had my mortgage license, and built this growing and budding brand. In 3 years, made my first $1 million in real estate from the day I left that corner. But I still thought my why was getting money. And in 3 years after making millions, my arrogance, my pride, my lust for money, and my lack of purpose, I lost every bit of those millions. God humbled me because he had to prepare me to find what he truly put me here for. And what I'm going to teach each and every one of you here today is to find what he or she or it or what you are just here for. See, the world needs your purpose. I need your purpose. We all have something to offer the world. Just as the trees, as the plants, as the food, as every part of this ecosystem contributes to each other, we all have a duty to mankind and a duty to fulfill and contribute our purpose, the gift of why. And so after being humbled, after having millions, I found myself, had to give my car back, had no car, no savings. I was depressed because I had screwed it all up. I actually gave up on entrepreneurship because I beat myself up and felt I wasn't worthy enough for any more chances. I made it out of the streets. I made it out of poverty. I made it out of Rikers Island, Mod 3 Upper in the C-74 building. All the way to a successful young real estate developer, Mr. Real Estate, but had thrown it all away being financially irresponsible, arrogant, and too prideful. But that humbling period, then I began to think about my purpose. Everything, my whole life was centered around money, around getting rich or die trying, around feeding my family. But there was so much more in store for me, but I was blocking my own blessings because I wasn't aware of my why. And so I would find my why. February 10th of 2012, after doing some research on wealth, home ownership, and finding out the wealth gap, the wealth disparity, and how rich the top 10% and elite 1% were, and how the rest of us were left to fend for ourselves, it did something to me and resonated with me that I had experienced poverty, but then had also experienced success, and I knew the formula to get to success, to get to abundance, coming from extreme adversity. And so on February 10th of 2012, I did a program for a local high school in New Jersey, 450 kids, and I taught them about financial literacy, I taught them about my journey, and they all clung on to the message. I shed a tear that day, and I knew that this was a part of my purpose. And so when we all want to find what our why is. Since then I've spoken to dozens of high schools. We've spoken to many, many street corners, holding free classes on wealth strategies, financial education, etc. And I thought my purpose was just to empower people economically, but then I found out that I had superpowers socially. It was a part of the Freddie Gray protest in Baltimore and out in Sterling and Baton Rouge, and contributed my talents and gifts to my community from a socio-political standpoint. But all that was just rounding out to my fullest why. See, my mini why was to feed my baby daughter, who was born when I was 18 years old in prison, who's now one of the top colleges in the country. That was my mini why. My medium why was to be a financial expert and contribute my translation of wealth strategies to underserved communities. But then I found out my big why, which is your big why. Our why is to leave a legacy, to max out our potential, and leave this world a much better place than we left it, contributing all we have to give. It's about what you leave behind when you're gone. How will people see you? So how you identify your why is the W, the H, and the Y. The W, thinking about what drives you, what motivates you, what compels you, and most importantly, what would you do in this world if money were not an issue? If all your bills were paid, if even your children, your grandchildren, you knew they would be straight financially, what is it then you would do and contribute to the world? Driving a nice car isn't a why. Living in a nice house isn't a why. What would you give the world if finances or health or your necessities were not an issue? What drives you? What compels you? So I knew for me that even if I were broke, I would still want to empower, inspire, and educate others. I would do it for free. I do it for free. I love to do it. It gets me pumped. It gets me hyped to transfer this energy and education into others. That's the first part I found in your why. The second part of the why is the H. How do you do it? So many people say, well, I want to empower inner city youth. I want to empower single moms. I want to, have this thing. You found a thing that drives you, you're excited by, whether it's homelessness, it could be animals, abused animals, whatever that thing that drives you. You got to contribute that. But then you get caught in, well, how do I do it? I don't have enough time. I don't have enough resources. Which is why we've done things as simple as, what I tell people is just, you want to do it? Just go do it. Just go to a local high school and go speak. Free of charge, no booking fee, just go contribute. This is how you live a peaceful, purposeful, and prosperous life. Plant those seeds because it's the universal law. Don't worry about the money right now. The universe will take care of it. If you sow seeds of empowerment, you're going to get back what? Empowerment. What? You reap what you what? You reap what you what? So if you sow seeds of love, you're going to get back what? Love. If you sow seeds of abundance, you're going to get back what? Abundance. So I went around the country doing free financial literacy tours in high schools. I went back to Rikers Island where I once was an inmate and taught a inmate the real estate program for free. How I began to live a peaceful life and a purposeful life and a prosperous life is I simply served and I gave and contributed my purpose. Over 1,000 lectures on my YouTube channel, just giving. And so you have your W, what motivates you, what compels you, what you would do if money were not an issue. You have your H, how you do it. Just go do it. If you want to teach, go stand on a street corner, bring a flip chart out in any neighborhood, and start to teach and talk. What's stopping you? Go contribute. And then the why of our why. And that is, why are you doing it? You know what compels you. You now know how to do it. But why are you doing it? Dig deep into you and see what your motivations are. Your motivations can't be money. Your motivations can't be fame. Your motivations can't be self-elevation. But you do it to contribute, to give, and to sow. And this is the secret sauce to prosperity, to success, to peace, which I think is the most priceless thing of them all. We're so caught up in anxiety and over stresses and over bills and over life. But when you truly walk, you find your why and walk in your purpose, and you find that and embrace that why, not only will you have prosperity, but you will have peace. You'll have that peaceful swag. Your glow, your energy will be infectious. So what I want all of you to do today is to tap into your W.H.Y. What would you do? You could decide it tonight. Find your purpose. It's an easy formula. If money was all good, what would I do with myself? How would I give to the world? What would I go accomplish? How would I leave a legacy? What would they say about me when I'm gone because of what I contributed, not because of what I drove? Not because of how good I looked, but because of what I gave. If you do that, and then H, how to do it, go do it. And stay rooted in why you're doing it. Why I do the work that I do, because I have a deep, deep love for people that have went through circumstances and adversity such as I, and to be able to give them not just hope, but a blueprint to be able to be their best selves, to find their why. And now because of my why empowering them, they now are empowering others and making the world a better place. And my legacy will live through them. This is the cycle of life. This is the secret sauce to how you live a peaceful, purposeful, prosperous life. Thank you.